I'm Kenneth and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about 12 unavoidable tips about your vehicle. Now what I'm going to talk about is the vehicles that you use as a daily driver on the road. Okay. Now if you have a race car and it's for off-road, that's not what this is about. Now hopefully you're not having your off-road vehicle, race vehicle, and doing it as a daily driver. That's, to me that's senseless. But if you do that, then you're just, to me you're wasting fuel and you're polluting our ozone, and you're going against, some states have laws about that. But what I'm going to talk about is the on-road, everyday driver tips. These tips they will, help the performance of your vehicle and extend the life of it, along with, maybe increasing your mileage per gallon. Now if you constantly have your foot in the, to the floorboard, that's not going to help it. But these tips will help you. The first one: do not fill your gas tank up to the fill spout. Okay. Now a lot of these I have done myself, so I know when I was traveling, I put as much gas as I can in the the tank to hopefully extend my gas mileage till I stop again. That's not good. Okay. When you fill it up, what you want to do is fill it a lot of times until it shuts off. Now really that's where you want to stop. Now if you got OCD or something like that and it's got to be an even number, that's fine. Normally I'll take mine up to the tenths. Like if it stops on 5, I'll try to hit the 10, just to make it somewhat even. That's if it's, some people try to make it the dollar amount, which, that's the gas prices, well, just judge it for yourself. But I wouldn't fill it too much. I would, if it's under 50%, I would try to go to that, not 50 cents, not percent. If it's, let's say, $1 or $10.50 or $10.45, and you want to make it 50, whatever, you get my idea of what I'm talking about. But you don't want to go too far. Here's why. Inside your gas tank is a vapor can. It's filled with charcoal, and what happens is, as your engine's running, this can takes the vapor from going to your engine. Now if you happen to fill it up to the spout, your gas is going to go into the vapor canister, and it's going to fill up, and it's not going to do its job to keep the vapors off your engine. So if you ever done that and all of a sudden you got a warning light, that may be why. It's just not going to perform like it's supposed to. You may get vapor locked in your engine. So just don't fill it up. Once it hit that click, basically that's the best time to let the that's it. And in your gas tank, you want at least 10% of your gas tank free of any gasoline. Okay, so remember that 10% of your gas tank needs to be, yeah. Alright, do not take your battery post cables off while the engine is running. And again, this is something I've done. You know, somebody told me, hey, this is a good way to check your alternator. It really wasn't good a long time ago, and especially today it's not good. What's going to happen when you remove it or when you're putting it back on, it's either going to damage your alternator or it's going to damage your computer inside your vehicle. The vehicle computer can cost anywhere from $500 on up. So just don't do it. Do not use faucet water in your cooling system. Unless it's emergency. If it's emergency and that's all you got, go ahead and do it. But as soon as you can, get to a garage or get to a dealership, let them know what happened, let them flush that out. If you don't, you're going to get rust in there, and that rust is not good for an engine. Okay. Yeah. If you got distilled water will be the best thing to use if you need to, or next best thing. The best thing is get you some 50/50 already mixed antifreeze and put back in there. Okay. Okay, the next is do not remove your emission control devices from your vehicle. That's, you know, your catalytic converter, your EGR, your exhaust gas recirculation, or your, you know, for diesel, your DPF. It means diesel particulate filter. Okay, all that has a purpose on a vehicle, pretty much to control the emissions coming out of your motor. If you remove it, a lot of times it will decrease the performance of your vehicle. So leave it on. If you want to get more power, my recommendation is get with somebody that knows how to do a flash on your car's computer system. You know, I've done that to my vehicle. A lot of manufacturers, well, I don't want to get into that, but if you do it, sometimes you may have to up, you know, I use 93 octane, that's all I use, but that's what my flash calls for. Now some places you can go and they'll actually tune your car to the area you're in, which is a lot better. But again, it's going to be more expensive. Okay, to get those type of tunes, it could run, you know, I've seen $500 on up. So do not use oil that is not meant for your engine. Okay, what I mean by that is, now right now I like all cars, but you know, right now I'm pretty much a Ford fan. I like Ford Mustangs. I drive a Ford F-250 with a Power Stroke, the old 7.3. I love it. But in my Mustang, you know, when I was in Germany, it was a little bit colder there, so when I did my first oil change, I went to 0W20, which is fine. And it takes 5W20. You do not want to. Now the Chevys, the GT500s, the oil in those, or recommended oil for those, are 5W50s. Now you can see, you know, they look the same, but the motor's different. You don't want to put 5W50 in a GT model. And again, you don't want to put a 5W20 in a GT500 model. What it will do is it'll end up harming the engine's internal system. Okay, so when you and use don't use off brands. You know, if it's Ford, use Motorcraft. Okay, which I say that, and here's however, I haven't used Motorcraft. When I did my first motor change, I use Amsoil. I am not, they don't pay me to advertise Amsoil or anything like that, but that's who I use. I've used them, it's almost at 5 or 50,000 miles now, and believe me, it's great. So, but if you're going to stick to the manufacturer recommendation, look at in the owner's manual what it recommends and stick with it. You're harming your engine if you don't. And diesel trucks, this is just for diesels. For diesel trucks, do not use DEF, which is diesel. I forgot. Diesel exhaust fluid. Almost forgot what it meant. Diesel exhaust fluid in your diesel fuel. What's going to happen if you do that? It's going to really damage your engine. In fact, it's going to cost you, in a new 6.7 Power Strokes, it's going to cost you about $10,000. It is not a warranty item. Once they discover that diesel exhaust fluid in your engine, that's on you. You just bought a $10,000 engine. So, with that said, you have to, when you open up to put the fuel in, on one side, normally on the left side as you're facing it, larger cap, and I believe it's green, it's going to say diesel fuel only on it. On the right side of that is a smaller cap. I want to say it's blue in color, and on it it's going to say DEF, or it may say diesel exhaust fluid only. Okay, if you don't know the colors and you don't know how to read, I would ask somebody before you fill each other up. And now the vehicles nowadays will let you know when you need to add DEF fluid. And yeah, it'll let you know when you need to add it. And your owner's manual actually states when you need to add the DEF to your system. And make sure you put it in the right one. And do not put diesel fuel in your DEF. It's a lot smaller, so really you shouldn't be able to get the fuel spout from the station in it. So yeah, you $10,000 is a lot of money, so don't do it. Do not change your oil without changing your oil filter. It does not make sense. If you're going to change your oil filter. What's happening is in that oil filter you have a lot of gunk. To me, why are you going to put new oil in to get saturated by gunk again? Makes no sense. Even, you know, I use, again, it says 25,000 mile oil filter. I change them. Anytime I change my oil, I change the filter. Now some may say, well, you're losing money, or, well, I'm taking care of my car, okay? If it goes into a dealership, and I got records of every time I change the oil, what I changed it with, you know, pretty much everything about the car when I change the oil. But and that's another thing. Keep records of everything. Keep records, because if you can show where you had an oil change and something happens, especially if you have somebody else do an oil change and something happens to your vehicle, it's not running back, take it back to them. They messed it up somehow. They need to find out what happened and fix it. But anyway, change your oil filter. Do not use brake fluid that has been in a container, unsealed container, over a long period of time. What happens is, as it's setting out, it does absorb moisture into it. I would say if you're doing, if you're a technician and you're doing brake jobs all the time, I wouldn't have the container. If that's all I'm doing is brake jobs, I wouldn't have a container more than maybe 2 days. And that's really pushing it. But I know it's expensive. But if you're just putting it in yourself, get the smallest container of brake fluid you can to fill it up. Because most time you're going to seal it, put the cap back on it, and next time you go put it in, it's going to have that moisture in there, and it's going to get in your lines. It's going to rust. Over time, the rust is going to make the lines break when you mash the brakes, and you're not going to have any. You're not going to be able to stop. So watch out when you put brake fluid in. Now look at your brake fluid. If you have brown looking brake fluid, that's not good. Brake fluid is clear. If you have brown brake fluid, that means you have rust already in your line somewhere. Get a brake flush right now. Go look. If you got brown brake fluid, go get a brake flush, a whole brake system flush. Okay, and they need to use new brake fluid to put back in there. So let's go to, do not use gas additives with your gasoline. Y'all are probably looking at me and like, what? I always use gas additives. I used to also. I'll stop at Walmart, and they got, different levels of gas additives put in. What if I told you gas additives that you were selecting is already in the gas that you were buying? That's right. You are wasting money. By law, federal law, gas additives to take away to keep your injectors clean is already in the gasoline. I'll say that again. Gas additives to keep your injectors clean, by law, federal law, is already in the gasoline. So why are you buying it? Waste of money. Also, these octane boosters, 103 or whatever, I wouldn't even buy them either. Have I bought them? Yes, I have. But it contains a little lead in it. Yeah, look on it and read it. Some do. I'm not saying all of them do, but some do. All you're doing is harming your engine. Gunking up. Actually, that will gunk up your injectors. So if you're running, let's say you're running the lowest grade of gasoline, and you want, it's running a little rough or whatever, put you some 93 octane, one good tank of 93 octane in your tank, and let that run. A lot of times that will clean your injectors. If it gets really bad, you need to take it to a dealership or to a shop and have it looked at. Now what you don't want to do, which I know a lot of people do, they'll run it until the gas is almost out. This is just an extra. It's not one of my tips, but do not run your gas tank empty. Always keep at least a quarter of a tank or higher. What that does, most of the time your fuel pump is in your tank, and the gasoline around it is keeping it cool. If you run it low, that fuel pump is heating up, and one day you're gonna get a little warning light, and then all of a sudden it's going, it's not going to run, and you're going to have to replace a fuel pump, which on some vehicles, like, it's going to cost $500 or more. I know, well, I'll just keep at it. Sometimes it's lower, but I'm just saying it's going to be expensive to replace a fuel pump. So, quarter of tank or above, that's what you want to be at. Do not use water in your windshield washer tank. Now, it's getting cold now. Some places up north it's probably a little colder. If you put water in there, it's not going to even clean your windows that well, and it's going to rupture your windshield washer tank. So if you get low, you're running out, don't keep mashing it, trying to get every bit of it you can. Just stop, or you're going to end up burning your windshield washer motor out. Go to a convenience store or Walmart, wherever, get you some windshield washer fluid and pour back in there. That's it. Make sure it goes in the windshield washer and not the radiator reservoir. You want to keep those separate. Do not rev up your engine when it's cold. What's happening is all your oil overnight, or when you stopped, or during the day, it has went from the top of your motor down to the bottom. And when you start up the engine, it has to take time to get from the bottom all around your engine, lubricating, and then it's got to be warm, okay, before you want to lay into the pedal. Now, even race car drivers warm up their engines before they, rev it up. Now, I've seen a lot of students where I just graduated from at UTI, they go out there, start it, and first thing they do is see how loud they can get their engines. All they're doing is ruining their engines. That's right. There's no oil there, so it's just metal against metal. What's going to happen if there's no lubrication? It's going to heat up and sear some metal. So, best thing to do on that, if you gotta go when you first start it up, ease into it. Let it warm up before you get a higher RPM. Yeah. So, and next, do not use jumper cables on today's vehicles. Why is that? You're probably confused now, because here's why. One time you could pretty much, figure out the polarity of the vehicle. Nowadays, you don't know. You don't know if it's positive polarity or negative polarity electronic system. And if you take a positive polarity electronic system and try to jump off a negative, you're probably going to fry the ECM, electronic control model, the computer, and that's not good. Best thing to do if you got a new vehicle, I would say 2010 or above, probably earlier than that, but safe to say if you got a 2010 or above vehicle, go out, purchase you a jump box, battery jump box. Keep it charged, keep it in the vehicle, and use that. So, alright, that's all I have. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Comment. Leave me some comments. Let me know how it's going. You know, what you thought of the video. Maybe you know, if something I skipped or some, you know, let me know. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe. It's down there. It don't take but a few minutes. Subscribe, like, and we're good. Okay. Now later on, I'm gonna make a video explaining. I'm gonna offer a gift card. I'm thinking about doing a gift card from iTunes. And I'll explain it in the video, but let me know what you think. You think I should do, you know, for so many subscribers and likes or whatever, you know, picking out a gift card winner, you know, and send it to them. So that's what I'm thinking about. I have a video detailing all that later on. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.